Welcome to our series exploring the enigmatic realm of unexplained deaths and mysteries. Join us as we delve into perplexing cases that defy conventional understanding, where each clue raises more questions. From baffling disappearances to puzzling crime scenes, prepare to uncover the secrets behind these haunting mysteries.
Let me tell you about one of Hollywood's enduring mysteries, the tragic death of Natalie Wood, one of the most beloved actresses of her time. In 1981, Wood was working on the film Brainstorm with actor Christopher Walken. She and her husband, Robert Wagner, invited Walken to join them for a weekend trip on their yacht, the Splendor, off the coast of Catalina Island. According to Dennis Davern, the yacht's captain, tensions were high between Wood and Wagner. Apparently, Wood had developed an infatuation with Walken, which added to the strain. On the evening of November 28th, Wood and Walken went ashore to have drinks at a local bar. Witnesses recall Wood appearing visibly intoxicated and unsteady on her feet as she left the restaurant, having eaten very little. Later that night, they returned to the yacht. Witnesses from a nearby boat reported hearing a woman's screams for help around midnight. Wagner claimed that he and Walken had a heated but non-violent argument that night, and Wood had gone to bed. It wasn't until around 1:30 a.m., when Wagner went to kiss her goodnight, that he realized she was missing. Tragically, Wood's body was discovered about 6 hours later, approximately a mile from the yacht. She was wearing a flannel nightgown, blue wool socks, and a red down jacket. The Los Angeles County coroner, Thomas Noguchi, ruled her death an accidental drowning compounded by hypothermia. However, Wood's sister, Lana, raised serious doubts about this ruling. She argued that Wood, who had a lifelong fear of water and could not swim, would never have voluntarily left the yacht. In the years since, the mystery surrounding Natalie Wood's death has persisted. New witnesses and evidence have occasionally surfaced, leading to reopened investigations and renewed media interest. Despite this, definitive answers remain elusive, and her death continues to captivate and mystify.
As the shadows deepened and whispers of intrigue lingered in the air, one thing was certain: the next mystery was just around the corner, waiting to be unveiled.
James Riddle Jimmy Hoffa was a towering figure in the American labor movement, particularly as the president of the International Brotherhood of Teamsters from 1958 to 1971. During his leadership, Hoffa transformed the Teamsters into the most powerful labor union in the United States, controlling over 90% of the nation's transportation industry. This immense influence allowed the Teamsters to negotiate better wages, benefits, and working conditions for their members. Hoffa's tenure was marked by his aggressive tactics and controversial methods. He wasn't shy about using his connections to the mafia to achieve his goals. One of the most notable instances of this was in 1941 during a turf war in Detroit. Hoffa hired mafia members to eliminate his rivals, consolidating his power within the union. This relationship with organized crime was mutually advantageous. The mafia benefited from access to the Teamsters pension fund, using the money to finance Las Vegas casinos and other ventures, while Hoffa secured favorable returns on these loans for the pension fund. Despite his notorious associations, Hoffa was beloved by many Teamsters members. He was seen as a champion of the working class, fiercely advocating for higher wages and better benefits. His ability to deliver tangible improvements in the lives of his members earned him widespread support, even as his ties to the mafia raised eyebrows and attracted scrutiny. Hoffa's downfall began in 1967 when he was convicted of bribery, jury tampering, and mail fraud. These charges stemmed from his efforts to manipulate a federal jury. Sentenced to 13 years in prison, Hoffa's influence seemed to wane. However, his ambitions never dimmed. When he was released from prison in 1971, it was under the condition that he would refrain from any union activities until 1980, a stipulation designed to keep him out of the labor movement's affairs. The most dramatic chapter of Hoffa's life came on July 30, 1975. On that day, Hoffa was last seen at the Machus Red Fox restaurant in Bloomfield Township, a suburb of Detroit. He was scheduled to meet Anthony Tony Jack Giacolone and Anthony Tony Pro Provenzano, both high-ranking mafia members with whom Hoffa had a complicated and tense relationship. Giacolone was a well-known Detroit mafia captain, and Provenzano, a Teamster official and mafia associate, had a notoriously volatile relationship with Hoffa. Hoffa's disappearance was swift and mysterious. Witnesses reported seeing him waiting in the restaurant parking lot, but he was never seen again. His car was found in the restaurant's lot, but there was no sign of Hoffa. Various theories have been proposed, including that he was murdered and his body disposed of in a manner that would prevent its discovery, such as being buried under concrete or incinerated. The investigation into Hoffa's disappearance remains one of the most enduring mysteries in American history. Over the years, numerous individuals have claimed to have knowledge of his final resting place, but none of these claims have been substantiated. The case has spawned countless theories, books, and even movies, but the truth about what happened to Jimmy Hoffa has never been conclusively determined. Today, Hoffa's legacy is a complex one. He is remembered both as a tireless advocate for workers and as a figure whose career was deeply entwined with organized crime. His life story reflects the tumultuous and often shadowy history of American labor unions in the mid-20th century, highlighting both their achievements and their darker connections.
As the shadows deepened and whispers of intrigue lingered in the air, one thing was certain: the next mystery was just around the corner, waiting to be unveiled.
On March 13, 1997, 5 lights arranged in a V formation appeared above Phoenix, Arizona. The National UFO Reporting Center reported that a retired police officer in Paulden, Arizona, was the first to report the sighting at around 8:16 p.m. More calls from witnesses located south of Paulden soon followed, suggesting that the lights were moving in a southeastern direction. The lights were described by some as orbs or triangles, while others said they were part of a massive silent craft. Another set of up to 9 lights appeared in the sky around 10 p.m. that same night. Witnesses reported seeing an outline of a mass behind the lights, but not the mass itself. Air traffic controllers could not locate the lights on the radar, despite confirming their presence in the sky. Phoenix City Councilwoman Frances Barwood launched an investigation and interviewed over 700 witnesses. She claimed that the government had not interviewed even one witness. Interestingly, there were 2 distinct events reported that night. The second event, involving the stationary lights in the Phoenix area, was later identified by the U.S. Air Force as flares dropped by an A-10 Warthog aircraft during a training exercise at the Berry Goldwater Range in southwestern Arizona. However, this explanation did not satisfy all witnesses or researchers. The phenomenon received significant media coverage and became a topic of ongoing debate and interest within the UFO and paranormal communities. Arizona's then-Governor Fife Symington initially made light of the incident by having an aide dress up in an alien costume during a press conference. However, years later, Symington admitted in interviews that he had witnessed the event himself and believed it to be otherworldly. Despite the military's explanation, the Phoenix Lights remain one of the most well-known and discussed UFO sightings in history. Many people continue to believe that the event involved something more mysterious than military exercises. The Phoenix Lights remain a mystery to this day. The Phoenix Lights have become a significant part of UFO lore, sparking ongoing interest and debate among UFO enthusiasts, skeptics, and researchers.
As the shadows deepened and whispers of intrigue lingered in the air, one thing was certain: the next mystery was just around the corner, waiting to be unveiled.
In the quiet, rural town of Keddie, California, a gruesome discovery on April 12, 1981, would shake the community to its core and spawn one of America's most perplexing unsolved crimes. The Keddie Cabin Murders, as they came to be known, continue to baffle investigators and true crime enthusiasts more than 4 decades later. On that fateful spring morning, visitors to Cabin 28 at the Keddie Resort stumbled upon a scene of unimaginable horror. Inside the cabin lay the brutally murdered bodies of Glenna Sue Sharp, 36, her son John, 15, and John's friend Dana Wingate, 17. The victims had been subjected to a savage attack, bearing signs of both blunt force trauma and multiple stab wounds. Adding to the tragedy was the mysterious disappearance of Sue's 12-year-old daughter, Tina Sharp. Initially considered missing, hopes for her safe return were dashed in 1984 when her skeletal remains were discovered in Butte County, approximately 100 miles from the crime scene. The investigation that followed has been marked by controversy and criticism. Law enforcement's handling of the case has been questioned, with some arguing that crucial evidence may have been overlooked or mishandled in the early stages of the inquiry. Over the years, several suspects have been considered, including local residents and family acquaintances, but no charges have ever been filed. The case experienced a resurgence of interest in recent years, fueled by documentaries, podcasts, and the tireless efforts of both official investigators and amateur sleuths. In 2016, a glimmer of hope emerged when the Plumas County Sheriff's Office announced the discovery of new evidence, including a hammer believed to be one of the murder weapons. Despite this development and ongoing investigation efforts, the Keddie Cabin Murders remain officially unsolved as of 2024. The case continues to captivate the public imagination, its brutal nature and lingering questions serving as a chilling reminder of the sometimes elusive nature of justice. As time passes, the hope for resolution grows dimmer, but for the families of the victims and those touched by this tragic event, the search for answers continues. The Keddie Cabin Murders stand as a dark chapter in California's history, a mystery that may forever remain shrouded in the mists of time.
As the shadows deepened and whispers of intrigue lingered in the air, one thing was certain: the next mystery was just around the corner, waiting to be unveiled.
The Taos Hum is an intriguing and puzzling auditory phenomenon that has captured the curiosity of scientists and laypeople alike. This persistent, low-frequency noise has been reported by a small percentage of people in and around Taos, New Mexico, and has sparked numerous theories and investigations. Let's delve into what is known about the Taos Hum, the efforts to uncover its source, and the various explanations that have been proposed. Characteristics of the Taos Hum. The Taos Hum is described as a low-pitched droning sound, similar to the noise of a distant diesel engine idling. The frequency of the hum typically falls between 30 and 80 Hertz, and its volume can vary. Interestingly, only a small fraction of the population, around 2%, can hear it. These individuals, often referred to as hearers, report that the hum is continuous and more noticeable indoors, especially at night or in quieter environments. Theories and explanations. Despite extensive research, the exact cause of the Taos Hum remains elusive. Several theories have been proposed to explain this phenomenon, ranging from environmental and acoustic factors to psychological influences. Environmental factors. Industrial activity. Some believe that industrial machinery or equipment could be generating the hum. However, investigations have often failed to identify a specific source linked to industrial activity, natural phenomena. Geophysical processes such as seismic activity or volcanic movements are also considered potential causes. These natural events could produce low-frequency sounds that some people might perceive as a hum. Acoustic factors. Infrasound sounds at the edge of human hearing, below 20 Hz, might be responsible for the hum. These can be produced by natural sources like ocean waves or artificial sources such as ventilation systems. Resonance. Certain structures or landscapes might naturally amplify specific frequencies, creating a hum that only some people can hear. Psychological factors. Tinnitus, a condition characterized by ringing or buzzing in the ears, could be mistaken for an external hum. Some hearers might actually be experiencing tinnitus. Sensitivity. Some individuals might have heightened sensitivity to specific frequencies, making them more likely to perceive the hum. In the early 1990s, a team of researchers from Los Alamos National Laboratory, the University of New Mexico, Sandia National Laboratories, and other institutions conducted a study to identify the source of the Taos hum. Despite their efforts, they were unable to pinpoint a definitive cause. Surveys and studies in other hum-affected regions have also been inconclusive, with no clear, consistent source identified. The Taos hum has garnered considerable media attention and sparked the interest of researchers and the general public. Documentaries, articles, and scientific inquiries have explored the phenomenon, but it remains a mystery. For some residents of Taos, the hum is more than just a curiosity. It has real-life implications, causing disturbances in their daily lives, including sleep disruption and stress. Several alternative theories have been proposed to explain the Taos hum electromagnetic radiation. Some suggest that electromagnetic waves from power lines or radio towers could be causing the hum. Military operations, speculations about secretive military projects, such as those involving low-frequency radio waves, have also been proposed. However, there is no substantial evidence to support these claims. The Taos hum continues to be an unsolved mystery. Despite extensive research and various theories, no definitive source or explanation has been found. This phenomenon not only highlights the complexities of human perception and the environment, but also serves as a reminder of the many mysteries that still exist in our world. The Taos hum remains a topic of fascination, prompting ongoing curiosity and investigation.
As the shadows deepened and whispers of intrigue lingered in the air, one thing was certain: the next mystery was just around the corner, waiting to be unveiled.
So, back in 1966, there were these two guys, Manuel Pereira de Cruz and Miguel Jose Viana. They were both electronic technicians from a small town called Campos dos Goitacazes. These guys were pretty smart and skilled in their field. On August 20th, 1966, their bodies were discovered on a hill called Morro do Vintem, near Niterói, Rio de Janeiro. It was a young kid flying a kite who stumbled upon them. Imagine that, just out there having fun, and he finds these two bodies lying next to each other in a remote area. Now here's where it gets really weird. Both Manuel and Miguel were wearing these strange lead eye masks. They looked like crude sunglasses, but they were made from sheets of lead. They were also dressed in formal suits and had raincoats on. Next to their bodies, there was an empty water bottle, a packet with 2 wet towels, and a notebook with some very cryptic notes. The notes were in Portuguese, and they had instructions like 1630 be at the agreed place, 1830 swallow capsules, and after the effect protect metals wait for mask signal. It was all very mysterious. When they did the autopsy, they couldn't find a clear cause of death because the bodies were already decomposing. The toxicology reports didn't reveal anything conclusive either. There are so many theories about what happened. Some people think they might have overdosed on some kind of drug or poison, but there's no evidence for that. Others believe they were involved in some kind of electromagnetic experiment because of their background in electronics. The masks might have been to protect against radiation. Then there are the more out there theories. Some folks think they were part of an occult or spiritual group, and the notes and masks were part of a ritual. And of course, there's the UFO angle. That area has a history of UFO sightings, and some people believe these guys were trying to contact extraterrestrials. But the truth is, no one really knows what happened. The capsules they were supposed to take, the purpose of the LED masks, why they chose that specific remote location, and whether they were alone or if someone else was involved, it's all still a mystery. This case has fascinated people for years. It's been the subject of books, documentaries, and countless articles. Even today, it's one of Brazil's most baffling unsolved mysteries. So that's the masks case. It's a story that just keeps you wondering what really happened on that hill in 1966.
As the shadows deepened and whispers of intrigue lingered in the air, one thing was certain: the next mystery was just around the corner, waiting to be unveiled.
Picture this. It's 1936, and a geologist named Jim McAllister is trudging across the parched earth of Death Valley. The sun beats down mercilessly, mirages shimmering on the horizon. There, on the cracked mud of Racetrack Playa, is a rock. Nothing special about that, you might think, but this rock has a tail, a long carved furrow stretching behind it for hundreds of feet. Jim blinks, rubs his eyes. He's heard whispers, of course, tall tales told by prospectors and park rangers about rocks that move on their own. But he's a scientist, damn it, and rocks don't just get up and walk around. Yet there it is, clear as day. And it's not just one. As he scans the playa, he sees dozens of them. Boulders, some weighing up to 700 pounds, all with these mysterious trails behind them. For nearly a century, the sailing stones of Death Valley have puzzled scientists, sparked conspiracy theories, and drawn curious visitors from around the world. Native Americans whispered about spirit horses dragging the rocks around at night. UFO enthusiasts claimed it was proof of alien technology. Some even suggested the rocks were alive. The truth, when it finally came out in 2014, was almost as fantastic as the myths. A team of scientists, led by paleobiologist Richard Norris, caught the rocks in the act. They fitted 15 rocks with GPS units and set up a weather station. Then they waited. 2 years passed before the conditions were just right. A rare rainstorm flooded the playa with a few inches of water. That night, the temperature plummeted, freezing the top layer into sheets of thin ice. As the morning sun began to warm the air, the ice started to break up. A light breeze picked up, and suddenly the rocks began to move. The ice sheets, pushed by the wind, were bulldozing the rocks across the muddy surface of the playa. Some moved at speeds up to 16 feet per minute. It wasn't magic, or aliens, or living rocks. It was a perfect storm of rare conditions that might only happen for a few minutes every decade or so. Today, the sailing stones remain one of Death Valley's most enigmatic attractions. Protected by law, they continue their slow, mysterious dance across the desert floor. And while we now know the science behind it, standing there on that vast playa, watching those lonely rocks and their trails stretching off into the distance, it's hard not to feel a sense of wonder at the hidden magic of our world.
As the shadows deepened and whispers of intrigue lingered in the air, one thing was certain: the next mystery was just around the corner, waiting to be unveiled. Have you ever heard about the Bloop? It's one of those incredible ocean mysteries that had everyone puzzled for years. Picture this: it's 1997, and the US National Oceanic and Atmospheric Administration is using this network of underwater microphones, or hydrophones, scattered across the vast Pacific Ocean. These hydrophones were originally set up to monitor sounds from submarines and underwater volcanic activity, but they ended up capturing something truly bizarre and unexpected. So, in the midst of their usual recordings, they pick up this sound, not just any sound, but an ultra-low frequency noise that was so powerful it could be heard over 5,000 kilometers away. To give you an idea, it was like a deep, eerie roar that rose in frequency rapidly over about a minute. The sound was so intense and widespread that scientists immediately knew they were dealing with something out of the ordinary. The location of this mysterious noise was pinpointed to a remote area of the southern Pacific Ocean, somewhere around 50 degrees south and 100 degrees west. Naturally, this set off a flurry of speculation and excitement among scientists and enthusiasts alike. Was it a massive underwater creature, some sort of sea monster hiding in the depths? Or could it be a gigantic geological event, like a huge underwater volcano or shifting tectonic plates? For a while, the leading theory was that the bloop might have been produced by a gigantic, undiscovered marine animal. After all, the sound profile was somewhat similar to noises made by marine life, just on a much larger scale. Can you imagine? A creature so huge that its calls could be heard halfway across the ocean. It was like something straight out of a sci-fi novel, but as scientists dug deeper, they began to consider other possibilities. They compared the bloop to known sounds and analyzed various factors. Over the next few years, more clues emerged, pointing towards a more plausible, if less fantastical, explanation. In 2012, NOAA scientists announced that the bloop was consistent with the noises generated by icequakes. These are sounds that occur when massive icebergs crack and fracture, creating powerful underwater sounds. The conclusion was that the bloop was likely caused by a large iceberg breaking apart and caving in the frigid waters of the southern Pacific. While it wasn't a colossal sea monster, the idea of these giant chunks of ice creating such an eerie and powerful sound was still pretty awe-inspiring. Even though the mystery was scientifically resolved, the bloop continued to capture the public's imagination. It was featured in documentaries, articles, and even inspired elements of speculative fiction. People love a good mystery, especially when it involves the uncharted depths of our oceans. To this day, the bloop remains a fascinating example of how much we have yet to discover about our planet's oceans. Who knows what other sounds and secrets are lurking beneath the waves, waiting to be uncovered by curious minds and advanced technology. The ocean is vast, mysterious, and full of wonders, and the bloop is just one chapter in its ever-unfolding story. As the shadows deepened and whispers of intrigue lingered in the air, one thing was certain: the next mystery was just around the corner, waiting to be unveiled. Let me tell you about one of the most intriguing mysteries in aviation history. The disappearance of Frederick Valentich. Picture this: it's the evening of October 21st, 1978. A young 20-year-old pilot named Frederick Valentich is flying his small Cessna 182 litres aircraft over the Bass Strait, which lies between the Australian mainland and Tasmania. Frederick is no ordinary young man. He's an enthusiastic pilot with dreams of a bright future in aviation. As he's cruising along at about 4,500 feet, something strange catches his eye. He radios Melbourne Flight Service to report an unidentified flying object following him. Frederick describes it as a long, shiny metallic object with green lights. He's calm, but clearly puzzled. The operator on the other end tries to make sense of what he's hearing. UFO sightings aren't exactly in the handbook. Frederick continues to narrate what he's seeing. The mysterious craft is now hovering above him. His voice betrays a hint of anxiety as he mentions that his engine is running rough. The controller asks him to describe the object further. Frederick says the object is not an aircraft. Moments later, his last words come through the radio: "That strange aircraft is hovering on top of me again. It is hovering, and it's not an aircraft." And then, silence. Imagine the scene back at Melbourne Flight Service: confusion, urgency, and growing alarm as repeated attempts to contact Frederick go unanswered. A massive search operation is launched, scouring the waters of the Bass Strait and the surrounding areas. But no trace of Frederick or his plane is ever found. It's as if he vanished into thin air. Naturally, theories abound. Some believe Frederick encountered extraterrestrial beings and was possibly abducted by a UFO. After all, several people reported seeing strange lights in the sky that night. The UFO community has embraced Frederick's story as one of the most credible encounters ever recorded. Others propose more mundane explanations. Perhaps Frederick became disoriented and suffered from vertigo, leading to a fatal crash into the ocean. Some skeptics even suggest he might have staged his disappearance for unknown reasons, though no evidence supports this claim. Years have passed, but the mystery remains unsolved. Frederick Valentich's disappearance continues to fascinate, a blend of eerie uncertainty and thrilling speculation. It's a story that lingers, prompting us to wonder about the unknown and the possibility that we might not be alone. Next time you look up at the night sky, you might think of Frederick and his final flight, lost somewhere between the stars and the sea. As the shadows deepened and whispers of intrigue lingered in the air, one thing was certain: the next mystery was just around the corner, waiting to be unveiled. let me tell you about the Patomskiy Crater, one of the most mysterious and intriguing places in Siberia. About 360 kilometers from the nearest settlement, Badebo. In this isolated area, there's a bizarre geological formation that has baffled scientists for decades. The Patomskiy Crater, also known as the Patomskiy phenomenon, was discovered in 1949 by a Russian geologist named Vadim Kolpakov. Picture this. Kolpakov was out on a routine geological survey when he stumbled upon this unusual structure. The locals had already given it a name, Fire Eagle Nest, because of its distinctive shape. So, what does it look like? Well, it's a cone-shaped structure about 160 meters in diameter and around 40 meters high. There's even a small mound at the center, making it look a bit like a volcanic cone. But here's where it gets interesting. No one really knows how it got there. Over the years, several theories have emerged. One of the main ideas is that it was caused by a meteorite impact. But here's the catch: no meteoritic material has ever been found at the site. Some suggest it could be a result of volcanic activity, but there's no history of volcanism in the region. Others believe it might have been formed by a natural gas explosion, considering Siberia is known for its gas deposits. Then there's the more out there theory of a nuclear blast, either natural or man-made. But again, there's no evidence of radiation to support this. Some scientists even think it could be due to a phenomenon called thermokarst, where permafrost melts and collapses, though the exact mechanism is still unclear. Despite numerous expeditions and advanced scientific studies, no one has been able to definitively explain its origin. Scientists have collected geological samples and used modern techniques to analyze the structure, but the mystery remains unsolved. The Patomskiy Crater continues to captivate the imagination of both scientists and the public. It's been featured in documentaries and articles, becoming a symbol of the unexplained. Its remote location and the mystery surrounding it have turned it into a subject of endless fascination. Even today, researchers are still drawn to the Patomskiy Crater, hoping to uncover its secrets. It's a place where the lines between science and mystery blur, leaving us to wonder about the forces that shaped our planet. Next time you think about the vast, unexplored regions of the world, remember the Patomskiy Crater. It's a reminder that despite all our advances, there are still mysteries out there waiting to be solved. Thank you for joining us on this exploration of the unexplained. We hope these mysteries have sparked your curiosity and encouraged you to delve deeper into the unknown. Until next time, stay curious, stay vigilant, and never stop seeking the truth.